starting remarkably well. Or if it started some time ago, I hope it's continuing remarkably well. This series of live conversations, talks I'm giving at the moment are based on self with others, looking at the outline of self with others and self with others as a foundation for 360-degree coaching. How I, in a coaching relationship, try to enable the client to see where she or he is from multiple angles so we can better pinpoint the origin of problems or dissatisfactions or anxieties, so that when we begin to know what the cause of things are, we can more accurately solve those things. And I suggested, and I write about, when I write about self with others, that we can look at things generally from three angles. I call them the three domains of self with others. There is the domain of the inner work on the self, which I talked about a little bit yesterday. Tomorrow I will talk a little bit about the domain of systems thinking. And today the domain of connection with. Sometimes when we are trying to get to the heart of where a client is struggling or dissatisfied, it's not really anything within themselves. It's not really the system they're working in. It's how they are connecting. Paying attention to how we connect can be very rewarding. Now, obviously, when we talk about how we connect, the first thought that springs to mind is how you connect with other people. And of course, that's really important. It's a central part. How are you connecting with other people? Are you confident or unconfident? Are you really connecting, or are you just getting lost in your own self stories? Are you giving people time, not giving people time? Are you confident in how you articulate yourself, not confident? All of those things are really important. But my starting point with self with others is a little bit deeper. It's an understanding that everything is a process of connection. Everything we experience is a process of connection. There is connection with other people. There's connection with the natural world, connection with the book you're reading. But as we talked about yesterday, the self is not, in my thinking, a single unitary thing. I don't really go with what is my authentic self. I go, what are the authentic relationships in myself? Self is a relationship. I, this funny little word that exists somewhere in the prefrontal cortex, I am in relationship with my thoughts. I am in relationship with my body. I am in relationship with my memories. I am in relationship with my emotions and my anxieties and so on. This word is always in relationship with something. It is always connecting with something. Sometimes it is connecting with something from outside. Sometimes it is connecting from something which purely comes from inside, but always it is in connection. I would suggest that the only time I am not in connection with something, a thought, a memory, a tune I'm singing in my head, the only time I'm not in connection with something is when I'm either in non-dreaming sleep or unconscious, at which point, to all intents and purposes, I cease to exist. I had a great night's sleep last night. I don't remember any dreams at all. As far as I'm aware, between when I went to sleep and when I woke up, I didn't exist. I was asleep. Oh, I'm awake. I have no sense of I having existed because I was not in any kind of relationship. Sometimes you wake up and you go, during my dreams, I did this and I did that. I existed because I was in relationship. So if everything is relationship internally and externally, it makes sense to spend an awful lot of time observing how those relationships are working. That's why the second domain of self with others is examining and improving the quality of connectedness. Now, it goes without saying, as I talked about a couple of days ago, the foundation for connectedness is presence. You don't get to connect with someone if you're not present with them. You'll be connecting with your assumptions about them, your memories about them, your prejudices. You'll be connecting with who you thought they were yesterday. Same is true internally. Sometimes we go, I'm anxious. And then when we really look at it, we go, no, I'm not anxious. This is a classic reframing device. Perhaps I'm not anxious. When I really look at the relationship between me and this thing that I call my anxiety, I realize I'm just naming it anxiety, but I'm not anxious. Perhaps I'm excited. Perhaps I'm residual stressed, whatever. In looking at the nature of the connection in the present moment, we begin to empower ourselves to change the nature of that connection. Someone's annoying you at work. With the best will in the world, you don't really get to change somebody else. You can change how you connect with them. You can change how you connect with what they trigger in you. You can also change the whole system within which you connect, but that's systems thinking, and we're going to look at that a little bit tomorrow. Two simple words. The first domain of self with others that I talked about yesterday is what we can call inner work or intrapersonal work, looking inside. And the second word is interpersonal work, but that's not quite enough, because by interpersonal, I also mean inter parts of my person. Now, of course, the link between the inner work and the connection work is that they overlap. Of course they do. The point of 360-degree coaching is that even though things might overlap, and of course systems work overlaps with connections work, even though things might overlap, getting a clarity of which domain we should be looking at when we look at ourselves and attempt to go through processes of personal and professional development, knowing which domain is the primary concern allows us to be most efficient and effective in going through processes of change and transformation. So the first domain that we look at, not in any order, but the first domain is inner work. When you want to make a change, how much of that is just about you changing your relationship with your body, changing your mindset, and so on? And the second domain we look is the domain of connection with. How are you connecting? What are you connecting with, internally and externally? The third domain we're going to look at tomorrow, which is systems, systemic thinking. I have a couple of spaces free in my diary for new coaching clients. If you'd like to talk about that, exploring how 360-degree coaching and self with others can really work for you, drop me a message. We'll have a little chat. Whatever you're up to today, I hope you're having a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye.